to know this well. Ain't trying to wish you ill. Hope this life treats you swell. Oh yeah, BS, go fuck yourself.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Haji. Welcome back to my prediction series, and today we're taking on the Week 14 NFL matchup of Raiders at Chiefs. But first, let's get back into last week's game against the Raiders versus the Bills, where Derek Carr and the Cardiac Kids overcame a 24-9 deficit in the third quarter to beat the Buffalo Bills in what looked like a trap game. This game ended up kind of being what I was fearing it to be. Luckily, Charles Clay had the expected birth of a child, and he did not make it out to Oakland to play this game. And he very well might have been the difference maker in that game for him. This could have been like the Tennessee game where the Titans didn't have Delaney Walker, where we kind of got off on that. But through three quarters of this game, the Raiders came out flat. It was just, not finishing drives and, relying on field goals. It, was just kind of the slow start that the Raiders do. But after, so many games, 10 wins this season, I'm starting to trust this team in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, fuck, are we going to be able to actually do this one? Because a stat I saw floating around after the game that was kind of shocking was since the year 2000, the Raiders are 0-72 when overcoming a 15-plus point deficit. Fuck. That's how bad the Raiders have been. And that's why, through these videos, I've been tentative on, saying the Raiders are going to come back and, be able to win these games like they do. But Derek Carr has now clinched his sixth overtime win. Fourth quarter overtime win in the game this season. It's a new NFL record, which is, there's no quit in that guy. No quit. Khalil Mack, he's staked his claim for Defensive Player of the Year. Everybody knows last week he had a pick six, a game-ending strip sack recovery. He led the team with 7 tackles. He had 7 tackles again this week. He had a tip that led to an INT, that led to a touchdown, and he ended the game this week with another strip sack recovery on Tyrod Taylor. But this is starting to become a fucking incredible season. It's already been nuts, but this is starting to get real, and it's going to get really fucking real this week against the Chiefs. The Raiders cannot be relying on third, fourth quarter heroics to, topple teams like that, like against the Bills. The Bills are trash. They're not. They're a good running team. They have an inconsistent quarterback. Their offensive line's a little shaky. Obviously, with Charles Clay out, their best tight end's gone. They have Sammy Watkins, Justin Hunter, which is not exactly the best wide receiver core. We can't be struggling to teams like that. This is not the kind of play that we're going to have to beat, the Chiefs next week or anybody that we see in the playoffs. So if the Raiders had the first time, since 2002, the Raiders have been out a 10-win season. This is just absolutely incredible. They keep winning. They keep pulling it off. Latavius Murray and Jalen Richard are very credited for this win in Buffalo. They had 29 carries for 139 yards and two Latavius Murray touchdowns. They came alive when they did. But this team right now is living and breathing through that offensive line. I paint them in the similar picture that I do with Dallas, where, a lot of the success that this team is having is because, the big uglies up front are, making it so our stars can shine. And fucking shining they are. We have Derek Carr, who is right now the front runner for the MVP of the season. And then we have Khalil Mack, who's, in the last 7 games staked a claim for the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. There's some stars on here, and they came alive tonight. Khalil Mack, Buffalo's his city. It's where he went to college. That's where he was expecting to go into the NFL, but the Bills passed on him for Sammy Watkins, and Khalil Mack showed up again today. I mean, we played them once before, but he showed up in Buffalo and kind of showed up what they were missing. But we need to just move on from this game. One more thing in this game, I was overlooked. Marquette motherfucking King. Like, can you love a punter any more than this guy? I mean, I shout this dude out every fucking week, it seems like. But, I mean, he got a punt away and then got just barely taken out by one of the Bills' gunners. And Bills were flagged for, roughing the kicker. And I don't think I've ever seen this before, but King picked up the flag and did a little dance with it and then, spiked the flag. And, I mean, this dude just trolls everybody. And then he was calling, there was a good screenshot somebody had of, one of the Bills special teams players pointing at Mark King while he's dancing, and he's, referencing it to the ref as he's doing it. Marquette called him out on Twitter. Can you love this guy anymore? It's fucking incredible. But let's move on to next week's game about against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not a hyperbole to say that this is the biggest game of the season. This is the biggest game of the season thus far, and going to be one of the biggest games of the season, even when we're in the playoffs. Because if we lose to the Chiefs in Kansas City, we're going to have an identical record with them. But because of tiebreakers, we're going to be pretty much a full game down from them. So if the Raiders want to do anything this year and they want to prove that this is not a joke, this is not just a, turn the corner year, hey, look at the Raiders arrived. They legitimately want to go make some noise in the AFC West and the AFC in general and the NFL. This is the game that they have to win. This is a must win. You cannot come out flat and play shitty ball. Granted, last game in Oakland against Kansas City was a freak game. We had rain, we had shitty weather, we had bad drops, slippery shit. It was a nightmare game. In Arrowhead, it's going to be loud. It's going to be, it's going to be a hostile environment. But I look forward to this game being, a crazy battle. I think it's going to be a closer scoring game. I think it's going to be a decently high scoring game. But this is something the Raiders need to come out and win. It's their, this is not their Super Bowl per se, but this is to make the progress that we need to do to, seal ourselves into a good playoff spot. We honestly need to be 3-1 coming out of this next stretch, because we got Kansas City, and we got at San Diego, home game against Indy, and then at Denver. So, I mean, which one of these are we going to lose? That's the one. San Diego kind of scares me a little bit because they have just their offense can keep pace with DC, but I mean, what else is there to say about this team's resiliency? So, maybe this is hard for me to figure out, because the Kansas City game is going to be, it's going to come down to running the ball. We're kind of built for this, though. That's what I'm really learning about this team, especially in the trenches, where we're built for grinding it out, and it's opening the door for Carr to make these magnificent plays. He had another magnificent throw to Amari Cooper this week in Buffalo. So this game, I'm kind of leaning 27-24 for the Raiders. I think we pick up I think we split most of the year with everybody. That kind of was my thought. The Chiefs are probably, next to the Patriots, the toughest draw that we'll get in the playoffs, and that's why we need to beat them now. We need to get that first or second seed, and we can't just give the division up to the Chiefs right now. Because if we lose, if our one loss, even if we went 3-1 here and we lost to Kansas City, that's the worst loss we could have right now. Because the Week 17 matchup against Denver is going to be a big one, because there's a good chance the Broncos are still going to be in the playoff hunt at that point. But I would rather I would rather win in Kansas City and lose one against Denver, to be honest. I mean, as much as I hate the Broncos, like, I think we're going to pick up wins in San Diego. San Diego could be a difficult one. Indianapolis could be a difficult one. This Chiefs game, man, this is it, man. Buckle up. I mean, this is the season right here. If the Raiders win this game, we're front runners in the AFC. If we lose here, we're kind of pretenders, and that's kind of like, I don't like to root against the Raiders, and I never will, but that's kind of the feeling I had this year. I felt like we're just one draft and one free agency away from actually legitimately being a Super Bowl contender, and they have overachieved every expectation I've had this year. We're on pace right now to finish like 13-3, which is fucking incredible. So if that's where we're at right now, I mean, let's go. I mean, let's go out there. Let's beat the Chiefs. It's a short week. We got Thursday night game against these guys, primetime game. The Raiders need to show up. We need to put the bullshit rainy game that we had against them earlier in the year aside and just come in there and whoop some fucking Kansas City Chief ass. Because if we do that, I mean, we control our own destiny for the first time in fucking 16 years. So let's do this. Let's go Raiders 27, Kansas City Chiefs 24. The Raiders are going to be 11-2 after this week. I mean, fuck me. Raider fans, we're back. This has been a fun season. I fucking can't wait to beat the Chiefs. We need to beat the Chiefs. This is the game you got to put all your faith into, because it's just, we got to control our own destiny, and that involves beating the Chiefs. I mean, every game here is a must-win from here on out, but the Kansas City game, because of the tiebreakers, is the one we can't lose. We cannot lose to these guys. We cannot give Andy Reid and the Chiefs, the division. We cannot hand it over after the kind of year we've been having. Derek Carr's going to will us to a win. I firmly believe it. I am a complete believer and have complete trust in Derek Carr and Khalil Mack's bringing this defense alive. And I was just kind of scrolling through Twitter here just a second ago, and Mario Edwards Jr. has returned to practice. So fucking hallelujah there. I doubt he's going to be available for this game, but for the stretch, for the playoffs, we're going to need him back. Also, Alden Smith, highly doubtful that he's ever going to come back for this season. Looks like we're going to get dicked for the entire year on that. But I digress. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, go fuck yourselves and go Raiders.